The heat fell like lead over the quarry, thick as burning oil. The white dust covered everything: rocks, skin, lungs. The women worked without pause, eyes narrowed from the light and habit. Nobody spoke, nobody cried, nobody hoped. Sarah Blackwood wielded the pick with the precision of an old machine. Her body, tanned and brutal, had no ornaments, just muscle, sweat, scars. Each blow against the stone seemed personal. The hammer rose, fell, and the dust jumped as if trying to escape from the ground. She had been there for 5 years, not for betrayal, but for misunderstood loyalty. Nobody spoke to her. She spoke to nobody. During a break, she sat down. She breathed through her nose. She looked at the ground. It was then when she approached. The other prisoner was taller than a guard and had the body of a mistreated bull. The tattoos looked like bites, the scars, warnings. She passed by Sarah unhurriedly, as if the world owed her space. She stopped. She spat. The saliva fell on Sarah's cheek. Warm, slow. She didn't move. She didn't even blink. The other woman smiled, mocking. Sarah raised her head. Their eyes met. Silence. The shot sounded like a door slamming in an empty church. The guard said nothing. He didn't need to. The echo rumbled between the rocks. The tools stopped moving. Sarah didn't blink. Neither did the other woman. The silence after the shot dissolved slowly, like the smoke from a flare. The guard lowered his rifle, turned his head wearily, and walked toward her unhurriedly, as if that moment belonged to him. "Blackwood, you have a visitor," he said, and he spat it more than announced it. His voice sounded like old contempt, the kind that isn't shouted but understood. Sarah didn't ask anything. She just let the pick fall. The sound was dry, metallic, like a door closing for the last time. 5 years. 5 years since they locked her up for disobeying orders. 5 years since she decided not to let her people die. 5 years without seeing a face that didn't smell of stone, sweat, and betrayal. The interrogation room was a rectangle without soul, without windows, just a table, 2 chairs, and a camera that was turned off that everyone knew was recording. On the other side, sitting as if time didn't weigh on him, was Colonel Garza, her former commander, her instructor, the man who had trained her not to break, and then testified to have her locked up. "You look good, Blackwood," he said, with that voice that never said everything it thought. Sarah crossed her arms. She didn't sit down. "I can't say the same about you, Colonel," she said tonelessly. "Just truth. Have you come to remind me of all my mistakes?" Garza took out an envelope. He opened it. He slid it across the table. He didn't smile. "I've come to offer you a way out." Sarah didn't touch it at first. Then she opened it unhurriedly. Blurry photographs as if taken from a nightmare. Dirty men behind bars, huts built with reeds and desperation, thick jungle, uniforms that didn't need flags to know where they were from. Sarah pursed her lips. Vietnam. Garza nodded. "We have information that there are still American prisoners being held in a secret camp. Diplomacy failed. We need proof, alive or dead." Sarah looked up. "And what do I get?" The colonel looked at her without blinking. "Your freedom. Complete presidential pardon." Sarah passed the photos unhurriedly, one by one, until stopping on one. The image was gray, grainy, almost illegible. A group of guards at the entrance to a camp, blurry, interchangeable, but one had that way of looking, that clenched jaw, that damn posture. Sarah didn't blink. "Is my brother there?" Troutman didn't answer immediately. He merely looked at her, as if looking for something behind her question. "We don't know with certainty. There are reports, coincidences, enough to open the door, not to close it." Sarah smelled the trap. She knew it well, but she also smelled the blood, the possibility, the crack. "When do we leave?" The colonel looked down. He didn't smile. "Now." The heat inside the helicopter was different, more humid, more alive. The blades cut the air like a constant heartbeat. and Sarah, sitting on the edge of the metal seat, looked out the open window. The jungle stretched below, an endless green that seemed to swallow the light itself. She hadn't spoken since they left the quarry. Colonel Garza, beside her, reviewed a map with red marks scribbled by hand. 2 more soldiers were with them, one young, with nervous eyes jumping between the windows, and another older, with a weathered face and an unlit cigar hanging from his mouth. "You'll reach the insertion point in 20 minutes, said Garza, without looking up from the map. "From there, it's 3 kilometers on foot to the perimeter of the camp. Nobody knows you're going. Nobody can know." Sarah nodded, barely a movement. Her hands, still dirty with white dust, clutched a military backpack they had given her before boarding. Inside, a knife, a gun with a silencer, a couple of smoke grenades. The basics. Enough. The young soldier broke the silence. "Is it true what they say about you, Blackwood? That you disobeyed orders to save your unit and that's why they locked you up?" Sarah didn't look at him. Her eyes remained on the jungle. "They say many things," she replied dryly. The older one with the cigar let out a short laugh, like a bark. "Don't ask questions, kid. If she's here, it's because she knows what she's doing, or because she has no other choice." Garza folded the map and put it away. "Enough," he cut in, with that authority that didn't need to raise his voice. "Focus. This isn't a walk in the park." The helicopter began to descend, the noise of the blades drowning out any attempt at conversation. They landed in a clearing surrounded by tall trees, the ground soft from recent rain. Sarah was the first to get off, her boots sinking into the mud. The air smelled of decay and wildlife. The 2 soldiers followed her, the young one adjusting his rifle with trembling hands, and the older one spitting on the ground. Garza stayed in the helicopter, leaning out the open door. "Blackwood, you have command on the ground," he said, his voice cutting through the hum of the engine. "Take the communicator. Report when you reach the perimeter. If something goes wrong, I disappear. Understood?" Sarah looked at him for a second, nodded, and turned without responding. The pilot lifted the helicopter and the noise faded in the distance, leaving only the weight of the jungle.